Denny Hamlin just said something that should have every single powerhouse team in NASCAR paying attention, because this is no longer just some startup team trying to survive. 23XI Racing is coming for the throne. And I'm just going to say it straight. What we're watching right now might be the biggest power shift NASCAR has seen in nearly 2 decades. Think about it. For years, the sport has basically belonged to the same 3 organizations: Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske. The big 3, 18 championships since 2005, decades of experience, unlimited resources, factory-level infrastructure. And if you weren't one of those teams, you were usually fighting for scraps. So when Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan launched 23XI Racing back in 2020 with 1 car and barely 24 employees, most people thought this would take years before they became legitimate contenders. But now, Tyler Reddick is leading the point standings by over 100 points. Michael Jordan is being nominated for Sports Executive of the Year. 23XI is being nominated for Sports Team of the Year. And suddenly, the old guard doesn't look so untouchable anymore. Stick with me here, because the scary part for the rest of the garage isn't just that. 23XI is winning. It's how they're doing it. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. Here's the thing. Most new NASCAR teams spend years trying to copy what already works. They imitate the big organizations. They hire the same people. They recycle the same philosophies. They basically try to become a discount version of the elite teams. But Denny Hamlin flat out admitted that was never the goal for 23XI. He said they wanted to be game changers. And honestly, that one phrase tells you everything about why this organization is suddenly becoming so dangerous, because 23XI isn't trying to fit into NASCAR culture. They're trying to reinvent parts of it. Hamlin explained that one of the biggest differences is the way they hire people. Instead of only pulling talent from within NASCAR, they've gone outside the sport, even outside the country. That is almost unheard of in stock car racing culture. We're talking about bringing in people from different racing backgrounds, different countries, different engineering philosophies, and according to Hamlin, some of these hires literally walk into the building and say things like, "In Germany, we don't do it that way." Now think about that for a second. That means 23XI is challenging NASCAR traditions from the inside out. And whether people want to admit it or not, NASCAR has always been a sport built on tradition. Sometimes that tradition creates greatness. Other times, it creates stagnation. And I think that's exactly what Hamlin is hinting at here. Because while the legacy teams have decades of success, they also have decades of doing things the same way. 23XI is asking different questions, trying different systems, looking at problems differently. And when you combine fresh ideas with elite-level funding and top-tier drivers, that's when the sport starts shifting. Now, don't get me wrong, Hamlin admitted this approach comes with risks, different cultures, different communication styles, different racing backgrounds. That can absolutely create chaos inside an organization if leadership isn't strong enough. But so far, it looks like 23XI has handled it almost perfectly. And honestly, their evolution has been insane. People forget this team used to rely heavily on Joe Gibbs Racing just to stay competitive. They leased pit crews. They depended on technical alliances. At one point, they looked more like a satellite team than a future powerhouse. But step by step, they started becoming independent. First came building their own pit crews. Then came Tyler Reddick winning the regular season championship. Then came a championship 4 appearance. And now, they are beating Joe Gibbs Racing straight up on Sundays. That's a massive statement, especially when you remember Denny Hamlin still drives for JGR himself. Think about how awkward that dynamic is becoming. Because while Hamlin is still racing for the old empire, he's simultaneously building the organization that could eventually threaten it. And honestly, I think we're already there. But this story gets even crazier when you look at the charter battle, because this is where 23XI really separated itself from the rest of the garage. When NASCAR pushed that revised charter agreement, most teams signed it. Why? Because they felt trapped. They didn't want the legal war. They didn't want the uncertainty. But 23XI and Front Row Motorsports said no. And let's be honest, that took guts, because racing an entire season unchartered is not exactly a comfortable position to be in. There were real questions about the future of the organization, real concerns from employees, real pressure. And in the middle of all that uncertainty, Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin promised they would continue paying staff through 2026 no matter what happened. That matters. That tells employees we believe in this team long term. And eventually the lawsuit settlement helped create permanent evergreen charters that now benefit every team in the garage, which means the teams that stayed quiet during the fight still benefited from the outcome. And you know what? That absolutely adds to this image Hamlin is building. Because now 23XI doesn't just look ambitious, they look influential, like an organization capable of changing the business side of NASCAR itself. That's different. That's not just winning races. That's reshaping the sport, and now Hamlin is openly talking about infiltrating the old guard. That's his phrase, not mine. He literally said they believe they are the next elite team. And honestly, can you really argue with him right now? Tyler Reddick looks like a championship threat every single week. The organization has momentum. They have financial backing. They have innovation. They have confidence. And maybe most importantly, they have belief. You can hear it every time Hamlin talks. This isn't some owner hoping to compete anymore. This is a guy who genuinely believes 23XI belongs at the same table as Hendrick, Penske, and Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, Hamlin did admit there are still weaknesses, especially on short tracks, so he's not crowning them the Big Four just yet. But the scary thing is, they might not be that far away. Because if this team figures out the short track package consistently, if they keep expanding, if Tyler Reddick wins a title, then suddenly this conversation changes permanently. And I really think NASCAR fans need to understand what we're witnessing here. This is not another trendy team having a hot stretch. This feels like the birth of NASCAR's next true powerhouse organization. And maybe the biggest sign of all, Denny Hamlin doesn't sound surprised by any of it. He sounds like he expected this all along. All right, NASCAR fans, now I want to hear from you. Do you believe 23XI Racing is already officially part of NASCAR's elite, or do they still need a championship before they can sit at the same table as Hendrick, Penske, and Joe Gibbs Racing? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is about to get loud. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload right here on NASCAR Nation News.